fasting webinar. I'm Veronica, an accredited practicing dietitian with a big interest in childcare dietetics. So Oscar Care Group has dietitians all around Australia, which help make our Australia way more nutritious. So how many times have you Googled something, seen something on social media, I've heard someone say something and you're just unsure? Dietitians are a reliable source of evidence-based nutrition and are here to help. Food gives us much more than nutrients. Food is something we share and grow connections with. It's a form of memories around and bring joy to our lives and those around us. Teaching children from the beginning to grow to have healthy relationships with food is what our dietitians do. We've had so many questions submitted about fussy eating, and we know that these issues for parents and these are issues for parents in childcare centres too. There's so much to cover regarding fussy eating that we can't cover it all, but don't worry, we do touch on this in a few minutes. We have a 1 hour fussy eating presentation where myself or another amazing dietitian can come to your childcare centre and present to educators and families on this topic. If you are interested in booking this for your centre and parents, reach out to us via email or phone and we can set you up with something. Okay, let's debunk some toddler myths. Thank you for all submitting all of your questions. We've received an overwhelming number of myths. So foods with sugar send children wild. So this is false. So the power of our minds contribute to this myth. It's likely that if you go in a situation expecting a certain outcome, it will happen. So it's called the placebo effect. This is because of children's hyperactivity isn't sugar, but they're factors that are contributing to it. These factors strongly relate to the release of serotonin with interactions with others, as well as the environment that they're in. In studies, children ate foods low in sugar or sugar-free, removing this association between that sugar and that hyperactivity. It takes 20 times for a child to try a food before their taste buds will adjust. So this is true. The truth is that children may require 20 to 30 times or more before accepting a particular food. This is because food preferences develop through exposure to specific flavors. The more unfamiliar an individual is with a flavor, the less likely they are to accept or even like this food over a period of time. Children have 10,000 to 30,000 taste buds, which regenerate every 10 to 14 days. 10% of taste buds are regenerating every day. Over time, our taste buds will silence for approximately 4 weeks, and then more with ongoing exposure. Therefore, physiologically, our taste buds and preference can adjust, and it can also take a lot of skills. But there are many ways we can increase our acceptance without tasting. So, children will never eat broccoli. But this is false. Children often dislike varicose vegetables such as broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, and green beans, as well as kale and turnips. This is because they're genetically our inborn mechanisms increase our preferences for sweet foods such as breast milk, as these provide us with high amounts of energy. This can also include salty foods and umami flavors, as these help balance the flavors out. However, we reject bitter substances as our bodies identify them as toxic, and they are intended to avoid consumption. Because children have many taste buds and the taste of bitterness increases because of their ever increasing taste buds, and exposure to bitterness in various ways has been shown to increase the consumption in many ways. Exposure can also mean you eat with your children by having them available daily, encouraging food play and can contribute to their food acceptance. Try mixing, cooking and sauteing, boiling, steaming and adding vegetables into bolognese or pasta. The results from a randomized controlled trial demonstrated that 70% increase in total vegetable intake was shown by offering spinach in different ways. So this was plain, creamed, in raviolis, or with other vegetables at home 6 times for 6 weeks. Toddlers only like bland foods like chicken nuggets. But this is false. There are several reasons why children love chicken nuggets, so it's important to understand. This is because they are easy to hold, they have the same texture, hot and cold. They don't need to wash their hands and they can return to their toys. They are also really easy to chew because they are highly processed, and they're easier for the children's jaws and tongue. And they also have a really low sensory load. So chicken nuggets are classed in that part of that beige or white diet we may have all heard before. It incorporates bland, colourless, processed foods that are convenient to eat and don't have an intense sensory load. Given that 30% increased taste buds, they tend to avoid bitter, sour, and spicy foods. Therefore, these beige foods may be more preferable. So if you think of this, think like this: kids don't eat foods that they're not offered. So exposure is key, and getting children to eat other foods is really, really important. By trying similar foods that have the same texture, or even the same brand, a different brand of chicken nuggets, or can actually broaden the children's palates. You can try making chicken nuggets with hidden vegetables, like you can put some, corn, or it may be some legumes, or you can also freeze them and have them more available. Be a way to get more vegetables in. So toddlers can eat honey, can't eat honey. So this is false. Toddlers can have honey, but infants can't. So toddlers fall in the age group between 1 to 3 years of age, and that infants are 0 to 1 years of age. So infants should never be provided with honey or corn syrup due to the risk of botulism. And this is because honey contains a type of bacteria called Clostridium, which germinates into the intestine and produces a toxin which is observed. And these can cause your child to have things like weakness, floppiness, poor feeding. So they might not be eating very well, they might be constipated, they may be lethargic or tired, and this can compromise their overall intake. Therefore, infants should not consume honey, and it's important to seek medical attention, as it can take 12 to 36 hours for them to feel those symptoms as they're germinating. It's important to note that infants can't contract this through breast milk, meaning that mothers are able to consume honey. So once your child becomes a toddler, honey and corn syrup can be incorporated into their diet. It's only under 1 year of age. So cordial and juice rot children's developing teeth. This is true. The cordial contains sucrose and juice contains fructose. These are types of sugars that, when consumed, can lead to tooth decay. Therefore, in addition to not providing great amount of energy with other nutrients, it's suggested that toddlers and children avoid drinking sweet drinks such as fruit juice, cordials, and soft drinks. It is especially highlighted to avoid them between meals, as sugar can remain in their teeth, contributing to greater tooth decay. So rotting teeth is also known as tooth decay. It happens when bacteria in the mouth creates a sticky covering over the teeth called plaque on the tooth surface. These bacteria feed on the sugars in the food and drinks and produces acid, which damages the tooth surface. And over time, this acid eats away at the tooth surface, creating holes and cavities. This image here is really great. Image that goes from sugar to bacteria to acid on the tooth surface, and over time causing that hole. So kids will starve if they don't eat or skip meals. So this is false. Healthy children eat when they're hungry, so it's really imperative to understand that children will not starve themselves, or healthy children, and that their food intake fluctuates based on their appetite, physical activity levels, whether they've been running around all day, or how much they've eaten prior to a meal time. So babies often eat a lot more than toddlers, given their rate of growth is a lot slower, and their periods of rapid growth are a lot more. So during these periods, children may sleep more, their appetite might increase, and therefore requiring additional 2 to 3 snacks. These spurts can last up to 2 to 3 days or even a week, so they may be more hungry during this period. And this is particularly true as the hunger hormone, ghrelin, stimulates the release of the hormone that helps us build muscle. So if you're worried about your child not eating a meal, it is important to look at their snack intake, and you'd be surprised how much those little handfuls add up during the day. Toddlers should be eating a certain portion size per meal. So this is false. But children don't require portion control, and therefore they do not require a certain portion size per meal. Evidence has shown that portion sizes don't apply for children and toddlers, as they have the ability to listen to their internal cues of telling them that they're hungry or that they're full. So therefore, eliminating the big focus on how many spoons or how big the spoon is, high calorie and low calorie foods and stuff like that. As a result, individuals can eat how much their body needs, so children know how much their body needs. Forcing kids to eat based on their external cues, so for example, us parents or other individuals, can teach them to eat past their fullness. So this is where adults have lost the ability to regulate food because of the external factors that are going on, like dinner time, lunchtime, those kind of different things. So toddlers' appetites vary, and this is due to their growth spurts, changing activity levels. Is also because toddler stomachs are quite small, and they often have short attention spans, so they may be eating and then they forget to eat, or they just may not be hungry anymore. And everything is also an unfamiliar experience, so they haven't seen much, so they're very excited. So toddlers are becoming more independent and want to demonstrate their control. Therefore, providing them with a variety of foods is really, really important. Okay, so let's go back to the question. So how much should we offer? So offering regular meals throughout the day is really, really important. So if you find your toddler won't eat, give them a small serve. They will ask for another if they are hungry. And the first, I guess, as a guide, the first step is to give them 2 tablespoons for each food on their plate when they're 2 years old, and then 3 when they're 3 years old, and 4 when they're 4 years old. And they can always ask for more. But you want to make sure that you want to be giving them a variety of 5 food groups. Children's portions are generally smaller at each meal. So just put that into perspective. So if you're looking at a toddler age 1 to 2, for vegetables, you want to give them 2 to 3 serves. For fruit, half a serve. Grains, which is your bread, rice, pasta, 4 serves. And lean meats is 1, as well as milk or milk alternatives. So that's like your cheese and yogurt, 1 to 1.5 serves. But I think it's really important that parents and childcare centres that they're responsible for providing a variety of these food groups. So if you're concerned about how much your toddler is consuming, look at the entire week rather than looking at one meal or one day, as a lot of different things impact their appetite. The fatty eating is not normal in children. So this is false. Fussy eating affects 85% of children. However, it's completely natural to worry about whether your child is getting enough food if they refuse. Children often fuss about foods, particularly due to the taste, texture, colour, shape, or even the brand of food. And it is very common for children to change their minds about food. For example, liking food one day and then refusing the next, and then eating more or less. Fussy eating is a normal part of child's development, demonstrating independence and asserting what they want. So child's appetite fluctuates depending on how active they are and their growth. So it's key to stay creative and try make meal times enjoyable and reducing the stress. It's really important. The toddlers will be overweight if they drink full cream milk. So this is false. Children aged 1 to 2 years of age should not be given reduced fat milk, low fat, or fat-free milk routinely, as they need whole milk to meet their energy needs. Full cream milk is recommended as it provides calcium, fat, protein, and vitamin D to support their growing needs and rapid development. It is favoured over skim milk because it is nutrient dense and supports their little tummies. Therefore, toddlers 2 years and older, it is recommended to incorporate reduced fat milk products as they're consuming a lot of different other foods. In terms of whether full cream milk causes toddlers to be overweight, this is actually undefined in the literature. Studies have shown that full cream milk has been favoured over reduced fat milk, as it gives children that feeling of satiety, so that fullness. Given children are often intuitive eaters, if children decrease their intake of fat, actually reduces their satiety, and it doesn't allow for other nutrients to be, or other foods to be consumed if they're eating too much milk or drinking too much milk. Therefore, the other kilojoules consumed would influence their overall body weight and not directly the full fat milk. And obesity is really important, that obesity in toddlers is complex and a public health concern. Therefore, current guidelines suggest that reduced fat milk over the age of 2 is recommended at this stage. The picky eating will lead to nutritional deficiencies. So this one is true. The picky eating can lead to nutritional deficiency if patterns continue over a long period of time. However, research has shown that fussy eating has a minimal effect on those big nutrients. So this is like protein, your carbohydrates, and your fats, but can result into those micronutrient deficiencies. So these are nutrients such as zinc and iron. So zinc containing foods are meat, fish, seafood, such as oysters and eggs, and iron containing foods such as iron-fortified breakfast cereals, beef, poultry, legumes, your lentils and your beans, peanut butter, and your dark leafy greens as well. The toddlers should refrain from sugary foods up to 2 years old. So this is true. Toddlers should refrain from eating foods with added sugar. This is because we are born to like that sweet tasting foods. However, if you introduce added sugar early, they are more likely to prefer these foods later in life or in childhood. Eating foods high in sugar can lead to chronic diseases later in life. So if we provide them with cakes and muffins and sweet beverages like Coke or whatever it may be, they won't have any room left in their stomachs for nutritious foods that we want them to consume, so part of those 5 food groups. So if you think you are depriving them from tasty foods, babies don't actually, or toddlers, they don't know what they're missing out on because they haven't tasted them. So they will only know if you give them to them. So here are some ways we can avoid sugar. So although the food industry make it difficult to find products without added sugar, here are some ways in which we can avoid added sugar. So instead of sugary drinks, stick to plain water, plain milk. Instead of choosing juice off of soft fruits such as bananas, ripe peaches, or even drained canned fruit, choosing the ones packed in water or 100% juice, not syrup. Instead of fruit snacks, offer freeze-dried fruit without added ingredients. So looking on that nutrition information panel, the less ingredients, the better. Instead of ice cream, offer plain or whole milk, yogurt, or a yogurt parfait. You can also freeze it. It can be very similar to ice cream. Offer whole wheat mini bagels with cream cheese for toddlers, and offer whole wheat pasta with sauce or ground meat or veggies. So, are plant-based diets bad for toddlers? So this is false, but this question is regarding vegan diets. So this is only consuming plants, excluding all plant products, including meat, poultry, fish, eggs, as well as dairy products. So no milk or no cheese. So plant-based diets, based on plants, such as a vegan diet, require support from a dietitian, GP, and a pediatrician. And since vegan diets limit intake of nutrients, this subpopulation of toddlers are the most vulnerable to malnutrition. It's also not advised that toddlers are vegan if they have health issues resulting into poor development, like they're below their percentile, or if they're extremely fussy eaters or picky eaters, or problematic eaters, or they have any allergies to nuts, seeds, and soy, and they are essential sources of vitamins and minerals for vegan children. So a longitudinal study of vegan children from 1988 found the majority of children, or vegan children, grew and developed normally. However, they were smaller in stature and lighter in body weight than the standard population. This is because energy, calcium, vitamin B12, and vitamin B2, and calcium, iron intake are often below the recommended amount. And vegan diets are also higher in fiber, which can seem like a good thing. But let's put it into it as an example. The maximum amount of fiber toddlers require is 14 grams, but a study demonstrated that this amount of fiber was tripled for vegan children. Excessive amounts of fiber can lead to poor absorption of critical nutrients such as that iron, the zinc, and calcium, and which can be quite detrimental for them. Vegan children need also vitamin B12, which is usually found in animal products, but also can be found in supplements and now often fortified in different products. Vitamin B12 is needed for the formation of red blood cells, and its deficiency can cause irreplaceable brain damage and life-threatening diseases such as megaloblastic anemia and other neurological abnormalities. So a study conducted in Germany compared the nutrient intake of vegetarians, vegans, and omnivores, so eaters, using a 3-day weighed diary record and a lifestyle questionnaire. And this was done on children aged 1 to 3. In early childhood, vegetarian and vegan diets showed the preferred a greater intake of vitamin E, B, folate, magnesium, and had an overall improved fat intake of polyunsaturated fats, and they were generally lower in saturated fats. However, and whereas omnivores had a great amount of B2, calcium, iodine, and DHA, which is a type of fatty acid. And I guess overall, this study found that none of these groups met the requirements of vitamin D, iodine, and total intake that's required of DHA, so that's that fatty acid. And in plant-based diets, they also found that vitamins B2, B12, calcium, and iron also required to be supplemented. But in saying all this, or supplements may be required for all children, especially if they're fussy eaters or whatever it may be. So plant-based diets also have their benefits. So plant-based diets have a lot of whole foods which help with brain health, they boost immunity, and they reduce chronic inflammation, which reduces chronic disease later in life, and can reduce chronic disease later in life. And this is since plant foods increase the amount of fiber, so improving our gut health, also containing a lot of antioxidants and phytonutrients, as well as reducing the amount of sugar and saturated fat, which prevents against chronic diseases. And studies have shown that vegan diets demonstrate healthier relationships with food and healthier body attitudes, which is a really great, important thing in adolescence. And vegan diets have also demonstrated less strain on greenhouse gas emissions, assisting assisting the fight against climate change. So they can have those benefits as well. So overall, plant-based diets for young children can benefit, but they require provision and expert guidance and planning and often supplementation. So seeking a professional is really, really important. So toddlers should not be given formula past 1 year old. So this is true. So the simpleness of this is that babies don't require formula after 12 months. This includes toddlers on stage 3 formulas. At this age, toddlers should not be getting most of the nutrients. They should be getting most of their nutrients from solid foods and cow's milk. And if toddlers have formula, it can reduce their overall appetite, so taking away from those other food groups. And this can mean that they're not getting all the nutrients that they need. And it also can contribute to fussy eating and challenges in meal times. We do understand that it can be difficult, but definitely that transition is really, really important, that we slowly wean off formulas. So orange and red food products trigger challenging behaviours. So this is false. Evidence has been circulating regarding food dyes and their effect on hyperactivity, sleep disturbances, and other behaviours. Artificial dyes have neurotoxic chemicals that can affect sensitive children, such as children with ADHD. However, the evidence is limited and inconclusive at this stage. And food dyes can also cause allergic reactions in some people. Therefore, foods that contain dyes should be limited, as they're often in processed foods and can impact overall health. Limiting the intake of processed foods can accommodate for more of those nutritious foods, such as milk, milk alternatives, your meat alternatives, fruits, vegetables, and your grains and cereals, so your bread, rice, pasta, noodles. In relation to foods such as red foods such as tomatoes, capsicum, red meat, and etc., and orange foods such as mandarins, oranges, and carrots, these only benefit your child's health and overall gut health. So, thank you. So, dietitians are a reliable source of evidence-based nutrition, so it's always important to reach out to a dietitian for support. Our dietitians can help build healthy relationships with food, and together with childcare centres, we can do this from the beginning, which makes things a lot more better implemented, and we can provide nutrition training, including the fussy eating training, menu reviews, development, and food allergy training. We've also got a clinic in Mulgrave. Our dietitians are available to help one-on-one for a range of reasons, including child nutrition, women's health, weight management, IBS, diabetes, and sports nutrition. And our team is here to help everyone of all ages, and even can conduct telehealth appointments if you aren't able to go into the clinic, or the clinic may be a little bit too far. So overall, we are here to help overall with anything that you may need. But thank you for joining, everybody, and thank you for submitting your suggestions. We hope that you found it all interesting, and we eliminated some of the confusion that may be on the internet, or someone may have said something. So if we didn't cover your myth today, we received many wonderful ideas, but there's some were too complex to explain in this webinar, and we'll be releasing a blog on these in the upcoming months. So definitely stay tuned.